first of all, I don't have a philosophy in general, or I do. No, but what I mean by that is
so clear.
well, I know. But what I mean by that is I don't have a philosophy because there doesn't need to be a philosophy. That's the philosophy. Like when you're young, right? Because a youth player doesn't need anything outside of just playing the game, right? And then the other side of it is who's driving the bus when it comes to the skill development and what's appropriate, obviously. And then, but I think a big question is what the hell is skill, anyways? It's a huge question because if you ask, or what you would say is a good skill session is a lot of people would say, well, okay, so what, like, if what's a good skill session? Okay, so we got to work on skating, we got to work on stick handling, we got to work on shooting, we got to work on passing. Okay, but inside each one of those things, there's a whole world of what is skating? Is it agility? Is it turning? Is it quick starts? Is it lateral movement? Is it backwards? Is it keep going, right? Edges, all that stuff. So anyways, that's a big thing. So so when I look at skill development, okay, so let's just say that is skill development. Okay, when I look at skill development, yes, that is part of the skill development process. You should know how to skate very well. You should know how to stick handle, shoot, and all that kind of stuff. True. But what skill development is what you do every day on the ice. So it's going to be definitely different for other people. But this is why being young, it's not that important. I shouldn't say not that important. It shouldn't be necessarily that specific because you actually don't know what you are, right? So if you say I'm a defenseman, well, if we've done all these drills and then you're 15 years old and you're still working on stick handling drills, you're still working on rushing the puck and shooting and all that stuff. That's good, but what do you do every single game? It probably won't be what resembles your skill drills, skill sessions. So what does a defenseman do every day? Well, I can guarantee you a skill that he has to do is retrieve a puck out of his own end. That's a skill. Keeping a puck in the offensive zone on a hard rim and getting to open ice. That's a skill. But let's just use the one going to your own end. How many people would be excited about going to a clinic where we're throwing pucks and retrieving for 40 minutes? Not a lot of people. But as a defenseman, do you not think that's a good skill to work on? 100%. And then the skill to that is, why are you doing it? Or why do you make mistakes? And how do I fix them? Or why are you doing it and how do you do it better? So that's what skill is to me. It's making a tape-to-tape pass is a skill. A forward, a winger that is on the wall, getting a hard rim or a soft rim with a D pinching down, that's a skill. There's a lot to unpack to do that skill. But it's not the same as what the average person will look at as skill development, right? So just to back that up again, so it's important at a young age. So I guess it's this way. When you're at the younger ages, I think it's important, number one, to have your kid just play. He dictates it. And I'll take this to my grave. If a kid is playing hockey and loves hockey, he's going to pick up his stick and shoot pucks. He's going to put on his rollerblades. And people say, well, rollerblades isn't the same as skating. Okay, whatever. Yeah, no. People get that technical. I know, man. Yeah. They think it matters that you're not pushing off on an edge and you don't turn the same. It's like you're 7. It's okay. It's okay. It's 100% okay. But that's the indicator that is skill development. You're just building basic skills, right? And you're in your head. You're playing a game in your head, and you're pretending you're Sidney Crosby or whatever. That, to me, that is what skill development is when you're young. And then as you get so what would be an ideal thing if you're going skating, shooting, passing, and all that kind of stuff? Like, ideal skill to me is just playing, especially small area games. And I know a lot of people wouldn't think that's that beneficial, but it actually is. To perfect a stride at 7 or 9, it's that could come. So that's that. Now, as you get older, skill development now becomes taking a skill, applying it to a game. That's very, very important, because there's so many times where, I know I'm throwing a lot at you here, but there's so many times where we focus on how fast you play, how good of a skater, how many dangles and a good shot and all that stuff. And then you become older, and it's not about like everyone has a good shot. Not everybody, but a good shot's a good shot. But how many guys with a really good shot don't get goals? Well, that's because the skill of getting open or the skill of creating space or how to shoot a puck. Why there's a reason your shots aren't getting through. That's a skill to unpack, and everybody's a little bit different. So the generic skills that most people do are somewhat fine when you're young, and somewhat fine when you're older. But at some point, when you discover that you're at a certain level, I guess, and have a desire to move to another level, where it becomes very important to take skill and apply it to a game.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, man. Oh, I'm actually fired up right now.
Okay, because I thought you were looking at me with the eyes of a chicken, saying, "Okay, that's a lot."
It's a lot, but
Okay.
like there's so many ways I could go that, as you say, I'm a mosquito in a
I
nudist
shut
colony.
I shut it off just because I thought you were
No, because
okay.
it's
Yeah,
good because we can tighten it up and then
yeah.
keep going. Because I don't even know where to start right now because it's just so many good things we could talk about. So I kind of want to bring it in the direction of the more isn't always better, and then like quality versus quantity discussion. So first, just like putting a bow on what you were saying is when kids are young, everybody can understand and conceptualize raw skill. Like everybody understands those things, right? Stick handle, shoot, skate, pass, like easy, right? Where things start to get fuzzy for particularly parents or people who haven't played, and even sometimes people who have played, they don't even know that this is what they were learning when they learned it. Like that, you gave that example before of Steve Ott where he was talking about which foot he shoots off of and he didn't know, right? He said like, "Oh, I shoot off this foot," and you're like, "I guarantee you shoot off that foot," or however the
Yeah, it was
example
someone else, but that's okay.
Who,
Steve was something else. We were working on a shot that he was saying I don't shoot like that, and I said okay,
yeah,
whatever.
right,
Yeah,
whatever.
But there's another.
My point being, like, sometimes even the guys that play, they
Yeah.
don't even know why they're doing
No,
or
'cause
how
you
they're
just
doing
do
it.
it.
Just do it, right? So where things get fuzzy, as I was saying, is when the transition happens from you now have a baseline of raw skill, and now we need to turn our focus to the skills of how to apply it in the game. And we talk about this all the time, right? So there's a transition that happens as you start to get 13, 14, 15, 16, where situational play and understanding how to apply those raw skills to particular situations on the ice, that is what the focus should now be on. And people don't know that. They think like I need to work on my skills, and my skills to them is still stick handling, shooting, skating, passing. It's like, no, we're beyond that. We have to be beyond that now. That doesn't mean you don't ever work on your stick handling, shooting in isolation, because it's like for school is like the analogy I always use is like you're in grade school, you're getting in theory, you're getting a generic education about a bunch of different things. And then as you get older, you start to apply that general knowledge to a specific field, and then you start to specialize into a specific field through university and beyond that, right? It's the exact same thing. So when you're young, you're getting the raw skill, and once we hit a baseline where maybe you're not the best at any of them but you have enough to work with, then we start to get into situational skill development, all the while you're still working on those raw skills, where it starts to become easier as you're older to work on those raw skills on your own. And maybe it's important to get a good skills coach that can teach you that situational stuff as you start to get older, because maybe you don't know, or you haven't recognized, you don't recognize the opportunities to use those raw skills that you've been developing for the last 10 years or whatever. So that's kind of the gist of what you kind of laid out there to start.
Yeah. Well, just
Yeah.
so you were just talking about that one